Hey guys, JBuilt here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be talking about adding options for locking the rear or the back end of the fence. Now I've said this before in my previous videos that personally I don't believe that you really need any sort of rear locking mechanism with this fence, but I have gotten some interest with a few folks that have asked, like, hey, what can we do if we are ripping down, large pieces or large boards, and sometimes you do have slight issues with deflection when you have really large work piece. So I came up with a few options that I wanted to show you guys. So right now the fence is just set up as I have it, front slider here with the locking mechanism. So the very first option, and I think this is probably the easiest and the cheapest, but it does require that you have access to the back of the fence. So if you have like an outfeed table, sorry, then obviously this would be tough for you to accomplish. And I have another option, but let's talk about this one. So I'm gonna lock the fence down, okay, here, lock from the front. And what I have here is a small toggle clamp from the side that is attached to the T-slot using some 8-32 screws with 8-32 T-nuts. This particular style, I didn't feel like drilling any holes, so I just used the two holes in there already, and I just decided not to use this third hole. I think it's fine the way it is. And basically all it does is, when I toggle it, it pushes, it applies a slight amount of pressure into your table saw top, and in the result, it's able to clamp down with decent amount of force. Now you do have to be careful that you adjust this in such a way where it doesn't put too much pressure, because then it might cause the whole fence to be pushed in from that direction, and then you might, start to bend your front rail or cause some other damage there. So I'll show you guys when I close it, or I guess when I clamp it down, it's just a little bit. It's a very slight amount of pressure. You can see that there, just a little bit, yeah. So as it does, now you can see fence is clamped down from the back, and this method works fine. But like I said, you do need access from the back, and it is, it's not the greatest feel. Say, you lock it down from the front, and then you kind of have to reach over the back and clamp it from the back like that. But it does work fine, no issues there. The other option that I have, and I've had a few customers actually use that, is using a magnetic clamp. The second option for adding a rear lock to your fence is to use what's called a magnetic switch. And here's one way to do that. Now the rail that I'm using for this purpose is a 1-inch wide rail, just steel angle. If you have the stock rail, that could work too. That's why I think this method is slightly cheaper, since if you have a stock fence, you can just keep the existing stock rail, and you can use any sort of, you could use just attach this magnetic switch to a piece of wood and attach that to your fence. In this case, I'm just using a 2020. I had a few pieces spare left here that I just kind of assembled together and attached it to the bottom T-slot there. But basically the way this functions is, as you turn the switch, and engages the magnet in here and latches onto the rail and locks this from the far end. And this is a little bit easier obviously than the rudimentary toggle clamp method. So lock the fence from the front, and it's a lot easier to just reach over its back, and now your fence is locked and ready to go. In terms of cost, I think this is somewhere in the middle. There's a few different versions of this, so you could go with the bigger / stronger magnetic switch. This is, I think, the smallest one that they sell, but even with this one, I found it's strong enough to, not go anywhere when you're ripping large boards or anything like that. So this last method is similar to what I actually had on my original fence design, which is basically just adding 80-20 rail in the back, and then having a sliding locking mechanism using the UHMW slider pads attached there using a angle bracket. And this method works great. No issues here. I've had a bunch of customers already order the extra rail and the parts for this, and this method, like I said, works without any issues at all. It's a 80-20 1" by 1" T-slot rail. I attached this rail using these hammer bolts that fit in the back T-slot, and I'm using the stock rail mounting holes, so no holes need to be drilled, at least for the Craftsman 113 saw. If you have a different model saw, you might need to, just so that you have this gap acceptable. And then the rear slider itself, so this is made of a 1/2" 80-20 profile here. It's about 4" long, could probably make it around 4.5 or 5, just so you don't have this sticking out, but it's not a big issue. And I'm using these UHMW slider pads that I used in my original table saw design, and these are mounted using T-nuts. I think they're 8-32. And then on this side I have a carriage bolt that fits. The head of this carriage bolt is just the perfect size to be able to fit in that T-slot. So basically, so it will slide like this. And obviously that's for the locking handle, and then there's another hole drilled right here for this bracket, and this bracket is what will attach to your table saw fence. So basically the way it fits is you'll just slide your, loosen that up. I don't actually have the rail tightened down yet, so the rail's moving with it, but just to show you the idea, so this will slide under your fence, and then that bracket will attach right here, and then that supports your fence. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this down. So I hope that helps you guys. Just wanted to throw a few ideas out there for some of you guys who are struggling with, you know, some deflection issues and whatnot. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Let me know what you guys think. I'm always open to new ideas. Thanks for watching.